Hello everyone, my name is Mike and I am the co-founder of the Wanda Pratnicka Center. In the last episode we have spoken about souls of human beings who have left the physical body and who did not resolve to pass to the higher vibrations of life. The destiny for such a soul is to go through the process of going upwards in the vibrations. We do not have the physical body anymore, so we are free to raise our vibration higher and higher. Not many souls are deciding to go that path. There are many reasons for that, and the most important one is the lack of knowledge about what is happening after the physical body has died. Most people are very confused about what happened to them. They even think that they still are physically alive. The reason for that is that the emotional world, that the place behind the physicality is a place where everything is as much present as on the physical level. So we can see people, we can see objects created in the physical world. So the illusion is very great that we are still alive because we can see the reality as good as we have seen it during lifetime. And so many people are also detained from going away by their near ones. They see the suffering of the near ones and then they want to just be with them, which is not the right decision. They should go strive for the light. They should not stay among the living. The problem with not going away is that a soul who has decided for not going away is just going through a process of reconfiguration of its emotional body. And that means that all strong emotions, negative emotions are going to be placed outside of our emotional body, and that's the body that we are using in the emotional world, in the afterlife, so to speak. And therefore we are in a situation where our most negative qualities are contained outside of our body and the most subtle ones within the body, very deep inside. And that has two consequences, very severe consequences. The first consequence is that we are not going to get any energy from any source. That's the way how the universe is trying to give us the information. Look, you are becoming weaker and weaker, and you are doing something that is not in compliance with the law of the universe. So you should go away. And that becoming weaker and weaker is just an indication for the fact that there is something wrong we are doing. The other consequence is very painful, that we are going to be attracted towards very intense emotions originating from the collective human emotional world. And that means that we are just being attracted whatever negative emotions we have on the outside. We are going to be attracted towards that place. And if that happens, we are falling into very intense negative emotions. And these emotions are, for the human, just unbearable. But that's the fate of the soul who has not resolved to go to higher vibrations. And this is the second sign coming from the universe that we are just not doing something that is according to the law of the universe. Later on, when we do not go, we have only 40 days for that. We are just staying in the afterlife and becoming weaker and weaker, and so we crave energy. And we can see human beings like lightning points. We can intuitively sense that they have so much more energy than we do, which is of course right, because the universe is helping us living people by giving us every second of our lives new energy. Because the process of being on earth is to learn, and evolution is the one of the most important aspects of the universe. Everything is evolving all the time, and we need that energy to evolve. So we have much more energy than the spirits. And then the spirits are trying to just get close to us, because they can sense that there will be energy that they can get from us. And of course the spirit cannot come as it wishes. It is not possible that some ghost is saying, "Oh, Mike, you have so wonderful energy, I will get it." They can't. They could only if I had some kind of emotional weakness, like if I were attached to some kind of negativity, like anger, like fear, like jealousy or envy. If I had such a weakness, then my emotional body would attract elements from the emotional world to me, or vice versa. I would become attracted to that energy. So it is very, very important to keep your eye, a very, very close eye, on what emotion we are going through. We need to discover all the emotions we have, positive but also negative. If we don't, we might become connected to the collective human negativity, and mostly through ghosts. This happens because everything on the emotional level is getting attracted to each other if the qualities are the same. So love attracts love, anger attracts anger, fear attracts fear, and so on. And so the importance here is very, very great to watch your emotions or my emotions very, very closely, because only by watching in them I will be able to detect if this is going to attract to me beneficial emotions, and by that also beneficial circumstances, beneficial people, beneficial relationships, or if I go towards negativity, which always ends in destruction. So we are stressing the importance of emotional awareness very, very intensely on our blog. There are many articles about handling emotions, about also exercises on what we can do in order to control our emotions. But first of all, the control is not that important aspect of emotions. The most important aspect of emotions is to be able to see them, to have the consciousness of them. You might have heard the sentence that we are consciousness, and consciousness is all we have. So the more we look towards our emotional patterns, the more we are going to have consciousness about our emotions, and the more we are going to have influence on them. Because you cannot go through a door that you cannot see. And in the case of negative emotions, you are going to get negative emotions, but you are not going to even see them. And negative emotions are influencing many, many people, and they're not even aware that they have negative emotions. So very, very important to just put your attention on your emotions. They are very, very important. Of course, we are trying to avoid negativity and negative emotions because they are painful, because they are the opposite of love, and we are built of love. So if our inner core is love, then we are trying to do whatever we can in order not to have negativity, because this is like very, very ice cold water that we are then going into, but we have to look at them. I am not talking about staying in that negativity. This is not right. I am just talking about looking at them, because if you can see an emotion that you have, then you can influence that emotion. Then you can say, okay, I can see anger, and sometimes you will be going through intense anger, and you will be saying then, okay, there is a lot of anger going through my energy system, but it does not mean that I should dwell in these energies. You can just say, okay, I see you, negativity, and I am deciding to let go of you, of the anger, of the fear, of the jealousy, of vibrations that are based on negativity. But that's the first moment. If you don't see the door, you cannot go through the door. So see your emotions and not dwell in them. Just perceive them and let go. So coming back to spirits, they have placed their most negativity on the outside of their emotional body, and they are being attracted to different kinds of negativity. First of all, to the human negative vibration that we have created in the process of the evolution of the humankind, but they are also attracted to people when they have exactly the same emotion as the people have. And then if they are going to be attracted, then they are, in the first moments, they are pretty far away from the emotional body of a human being. And that is why short negative emotions are not harmful for us in regards to the spirits, because they are just in the process of coming and they are pretty far away. So I have time to go through my negativity. But if I live in constant anger, if I live in constant fear, like in panic, then I am attracting them very, very intensely. And so we then need to watch at our emotions, let go of them, and then we are just switching off the magnet for the spirits. Well, if we don't, then the spirits are going to come closer and closer and closer, and then one moment, it can be minutes, it can be seconds, it can be days, depending on how intense my emotion is. Then I am just coming very close to the spirit, and then the spirit all of the sudden is, so to speak, coming into my physical body. And that's what we call possession. This is like a door that opens only in one direction. The spirit is just circulating around us, like Earth around the sun. And then there is this door. When the attracting force is strong enough, then this door opens. And then when the spirit comes in, the door closes, as if there would be a spring that is just again closing the door. And then we are in a pretty painful situation, because all the negativity that the spirit is going through, and that is valid for every spirit that has not resolved to go to higher vibrational fields, or the other description is to heaven, and then it is going to transfer his negativity onto our own emotions, and we are going to experience this stronger and stronger and stronger. So we in the beginning are even thinking that this is our own emotion, because we had that kind of emotion, exactly that same kind of emotion already before. And so we think, oh, this is me, this is my anger, it is just growing in force. However, this is not really the truth, because this intense negativity is originating from the spirits. Every time we experience huge emotions, huge negative emotions, of course, huge anger, huge fear, huge aggression, it always means that we are influenced by a spirit. The spirit may be not inside of our physical body, it may be outside, but still huge negativity is always originating from spirits. We human beings have emotions too, of course, but our emotions are not that intense. We have every human emotion thinkable, but they are just subtle. They are not very intense. So the moment the spirit gets into our physical body, it is going to become very painful for us. We are going to look for solutions of our problem in different means, like people are going to the doctor, medical doctor, then they think, no, this is my psyche, then they go into a psychotherapist, then they might even decide to go to a psychiatrist, but then they will see as I have seen in my life, because I had severe problems with spirits, and that's why I just met my wife Wanda, because I was in need concerning the spirits. And then if you are just going to psychotherapists, psychiatrists, you will see that this is not the solution for my problem. You will have to look further, and that is how people are just coming to the idea of spirit possession and to organizations that are just helping with that problem. And so some people are just looking solution for them in different substances, and this is the most dangerous moment, as we then try different kind of drugs, different kind of substances like alcohol and other substances. Then we are getting attached to these substances, and the spirit is very much happy because it is very much easier to influence a human who is very, very weak. And every person who is taking drugs or alcohol or anything else is very, very weak. Their astral body is very weak. There are no shields, so to speak, between me, my physical presence, and the astral world. They are just gone, vanished. So I am then very easily accessible by other spirits, by different kind of spirits, and sometimes there are cases where people have many spirits inside and feeding them like every second of their lives. This is a very dangerous path through substances. And so we have to be very, very careful for our emotions. If we are going to understand our emotions, all I have described is never going to happen, because the spirits have a certain vibration, and this is a low vibration, very low in some cases, and so the control over my own emotions gives me the freedom from the influence of spirits. Because if I keep a high vibration, spirits, they cannot even access these realms. They are just in the emotional realm, and they cannot just go through the border, so to speak. They are still emotional beings, and emotional world is their world. They cannot go beyond their border, the borders of the emotional world. So that's the best protection against negativity in general, because people who have problems with attachments, they are most likely individuals who are ready to just let go of any negativity there is. And this is like a huge step in the evolution of the soul, because becoming free from the influence of negativity means that we are going into a completely different world. We are still on earth, but we are not of that world anymore. We are free from negativity. We are free from negativity of other people, of spirits, and from the mass human consciousness that is in most cases negative. So I will be quitting at this moment, and I am inviting you to the next podcast that is going to come soon. Thank you.